You are welcome. Thanks for joining. If you are joining on YouTube, you are welcome. Ayode, thank you for always sharing sincere and important updates. Yes, I will always share sincere and important updates with you because I have no reason not to share my sincere experience with you. Okay, thank you for joining. You are welcome, Wilson. All right. Hello, Benedicta is here. Thanks for joining, as always. In 3 minutes, we're going to start. In 3 minutes, we shall start. So invite your friends. Let's come together and listen to this tip that I'm going to share now because it is going to inform your decision making. That's why I'm here. Nobody can coerce you, can force you to take any decision, but you can only take such decisions based on experiences of others, things you have read by yourself, things you have witnessed by yourself. Yes, and so in 3 minutes, we shall dive deeper into it. Now, 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Yeah. Prepare your questions. As long as it's about teaching in Japan, we are going to dive into it. Yes. If you're watching from TikTok, you are welcome. Thanks for joining. Thanks for the likes. Thank you for joining. Zach, top fan page. I see you. Zach, top fan page. I see you. You are welcome. Achu, I see you. You are welcome. All right. Time check. It's now 7:50 p.m. in Japan Standard Time. Good evening, everyone from Japan. Good morning if you are from my beautiful country. Good morning if you are from Nigeria. Good morning to many African countries, and good afternoon if you are in the afternoon. You are welcome to another live stream. This is Adventures of Japan. And in this live stream, I'm going to speak directly to you that want to teach. If you want to teach English in either China or Japan, I'm going to bring out some of the similarities and differences which would help you to inform or to take an informed decision. So, if you're an African and you want to teach English in Asia, China is going to give you a lot of money, but Japan would change your life in a different form. What do I mean by that? We are going to go into it in details. ABD, I see you. I see you. All right. And also, before that, I always talk about this book because I personally wrote it. I know what it contains. I keep talking about it, that it has sample CVs, sample cover letters. And so if you are somebody who is thinking about how can I make my CV stand out, what should I do in order to make my CV Japan focused, then kindly grab a copy of this book, and it's going to save you a lot because just a single line could change the whole story. All right. So the link is in the description of this video. I encourage you to grab a copy and you will testify. All right. Now back to the issue. Yeah. China, Japan, which is which? It's an interesting topic, right? Yeah, so I will be sharing my personal experience as well because I lived in China for 3.5 years. It's a fact that as a student, you don't have an opportunity or you don't have the right, you don't have any legal right to work in China. Yes, that's a fact. As a student, you have no legal right to work in China. Okay. However, once you are there, you need to think twice, okay? Because where some of us came from, you cannot sit down and think that you're just schooling, so you know work. So we had to use our brain to survive. That's all I can say. However, in China, if you're supposed to get a job, like you got a teaching job, they're gonna pay you between 10,000 Japanese, not Japanese, 10,000 Chinese yuan to 30,000 Chinese yuan. It depends on which schools you are working at or you are being employed in. All right. The salary is about 10,000 Chinese yuan to 30,000 Chinese yuan. And it's not a small money. Chinese yuan is not a small money. Aside that, they would offer you accommodation for free. Most of the jobs come with accommodation, and some of the accommodation come with free utility. You understand? The rooms are furnished in China. Yeah, you just send your luggage. When you are leaving, you go with your bag. That's China for you. And sometimes they would ask you, we got this accommodation, are you okay? Do you need another one? You have all those choices to make in China. That is it. When it comes to Japan, most of the teaching jobs pay between 210,000 to 250,000. However, whatever you are being paid, you are going to pay your utilities out of it. That's accommodation, bills like light bill, gas bill, telephone bill. Because here in China, sorry, here in Japan, here in Japan, some of the accommodations you will need your gas to cook, to heat water. As for heating water, most of the places you need your gas to do that. However, for cooking, some accommodations use electricity. Where you are living, if you have to use gas, it means your bills are going to be, so you either use gas or electricity to cook, and you have to pay all those things. They are part of your bills you'll be paying. Unlike China, it's not like that. In China, those things, some of the places they are free, some of them they are not. However, it's not anything that you cannot pay out of your salary. That is China. Then here comes the trick. In China, whichever company employs you is your boss in terms of visa, right? The company owns your visa, which means they determine when to renew your visa. If it's going to expire, they determine to give they give you their documents for you to go to the immigration to renew your visa. So here is the thing. The day that a company says, no, we are unable to renew your visa, we are unable to work with you, they can choose to tell you that, well, we give you 2 days, we give you 1 week, we give you 3 days, we give you 1 month to change your visa. And if you cannot change it, then we are going to cancel your visa. That is China. And no company that I've heard before gave anybody 1 month. Sometimes days, weeks, that's fine. So when it gets to that point, you would feel like, um, I don't know how to explain this feeling, but it's not a good feeling when it gets to that point. But aside that, if you don't have any such problems, you're going to enjoy living in China. Here, when it comes to Japan, in terms of visa issues, the companies give you the document to go and renew your visa right from the time you were employed from wherever you are from, your home country. They send you the documents. You get here, you have the problem, or your visa is about to expire. They get the document for you, you go and renew. However, in an unlikely event that the companies say, we are sorry, we can't work with you any longer, they cannot say, because of that, we are going to terminate or cancel your visa. No, it doesn't work like that in Japan. In Japan, the companies may decide not to work with you. The worst is for them to say, go and look for another company. So once your visa is still valid, you are still eligible, you are still a legal person in Japan. to look for other jobs until your visa expires. And also in Japan, if your company tells you we don't want to work with you, let's assume your visa is about to expire within a month, and the company says, oh, we cannot uh, work with you any longer, so we don't want to renew your visa. Because 3 months to the expiration of your visa, all the necessary available system, the system will be informing you. If you go to the bank to withdraw money, to do whatever, you have it, you see it, or you will see it on your receipt or whatever, that your residence is about to expire, please renew. 3 months to the expiration, you'll be seeing it on almost everything you do. The system will be notifying you, so there is no way you are going to say you have forgotten to renew your visa. So in Japan, when the companies realize you cannot work with you, they might say, we don't want to renew your visa because we will not work with you. That's okay. Yours is to start looking for a company, because companies have to give you documents in order to go and renew your visa. In case you haven't found any company at all, and you still have 1 month, you still have 1 week in Japan, there's no problem. You don't have to worry. What you need to do is to just go to the immigration, explain to them that this is the situation. My company is unable to renew my visa because they say they don't want to work with me. I don't have any work now. Please, I'm looking for job. And you have to prove evidence of searching for job, whether through email. If you have sent emails, the responses you got, you have to print all those things, because it will help your case. They only need honesty. Once you are honest, you are truly searching for the job and you haven't found it yet, they are going to give you visa. They would give you at least about 3 months again for you to keep looking for job. That is about Japan. This you cannot get in China. So like I said, I'm just going to be putting out the facts for you to determine which one is okay for you, because someone might choose just money as his or her peace of mind, because somebody may decide that money is what makes me feel at ease. So whatever it takes for me to make money, I don't care. I'm going to go for money. So in that case, China might give you peace. But if money is not your peace of mind, then you need to think of the differences that I'm putting out so that you can make an informed decision. I am not here to tell you this is better or that is better. Yeah, let's check TikTok and see if you have any questions. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for joining. Tony, I see you. Lynn, I see you. Please tap on your screens. Help me tap on your screens. Tap, 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 tap on your screens. Let's go. Okay. Let's go. Ah, okay. All right. Okay. Here's another thing also. The fact that you hear about racism, it exists in many forms in different countries. Here is my honest experience in both countries that I'm going to share. In China, mostly the old ladies, like the grandparents, take care of their grandchildren for the parents of the kids to go to work. That is their culture. I don't know much if it's same here. I don't actually know much about that here. But I know for sure, for certain, that in China, that is how it is. So there was a situation one day. I went to a supermarket and I realized a kid was being carried by the grandparent, a small, I think a girl, very young girl. When she saw me, she started like crying, seeing a black person, maybe for the first time. Kids are kids. I don't actually blame them sometimes, but it depends on how the parents go about everything. That brings the difference. So I try to approach and say like, oh, please don't cry, don't cry. And the woman told me point blank, as in Chinese though, maybe I should say it. ni jema hei ta jema bupa. Ni jema hei ta jema bupa. As which translates, as black as you are, why would she be scared? Yeah, that was my experience. I was shocked. So I was speechless. I just stood, froze. I froze and was just looking at her because I heard about things like that. I have never imagined I would personally face it. So that was my experience in China. But here, I haven't experienced anything like that. And also, during COVID, we were there. I was there before COVID came because I went to China in 2018 and COVID was 2019, 2020 thereabouts. So, the issue is China is not open to the outside world in terms of social media. So they don't use WhatsApp, they don't use Facebook, they don't use YouTube, they don't use anything Google. They have everything of theirs. So for YouTube, they have something called Youku. Yes, Youku. For Facebook, I don't know what they use in place of Facebook. For TikTok, they use something called Douyin. The symbol, the logo, everything is the same, but Douyin is purely in Chinese. For Google Map, they have something called A Map. It's purely Chinese, only in China. For Spotify, they have something called QQ Music, QQ. Yes. For Gmail, they have QQ Mail. So they have everything of theirs. And so most of the citizens are not open to the outside world. So they don't actually know what goes on beyond the walls of China. They are only confined within what happens in China. And so it was announced in their local media that foreigners brought the virus, the COVID virus. And so during that time, when you are walking, when they see you, sometimes you realize they close their nose like this. Yes. So those are the experiences we faced. I faced it personally, and it became normal at a point because we are among them and they keep doing that. That is China. But coming here, even the time I got here was 2022, and it's supposed to be the time COVID was vanishing, as you say, and countries were opening their borders. So when we got here, we were made to be in a quarantine, which I didn't feel like I was in quarantine because I could go out, go to restaurants and sit and eat with others, but I am in quarantine. No, I don't see myself being in quarantine. And it didn't feel like I am a foreigner here because the people don't see me and close their nose. They don't see me and try to run away. Even the kids, when they see you, they, yeah, yeah. So I felt like there was a total difference. That is my personal experience, though. So, like I said, I'm just sharing these things to inform you that yes, if you want to go to this place, this is what you should expect. If you want to come here, this is what you should expect. All right. Uh-huh. So, now let's talk about family. Yeah. In China, even if you have a family, for example, you have a dependent, you can send your dependent, your wife, your kids, you can send them to China. Good. You can send them, you can bring them to Japan. Good. However, dependents in China don't work. Um, they don't have any legal basis to work. So as a dependent, you're supposed to be a housewife. If you are a female, you brought your dependent. He's supposed to be a husband, a house husband. I don't know if you have that. If you are a man, you bring your wife. She's supposed to be a housewife. Yes, that's it. We don't have any, even 1 hour a week to work. That's China. And also, your kids cannot attend their regular schools. Public schools. Your kids cannot attend their public schools because you are a foreigner. You need to send your kid to an international school. And international schools in China are super expensive, extremely expensive. And so what people do is sometimes when they have kids in China, they sometimes when the kids are of a certain age of school going age, they rather send them back to their home country and let them experience the schooling there because the fees are too much for you, a foreigner, doing just the normal teaching job. And in fact, if you plan to save money, well, you can, if you decide to save your money in your child's education, that's also okay. But basically, most foreigners try to send their kids to their home country in order to let them attend school. Okay. But I know it's a difficult decision for them to make because everyone would like to have access to their children to see them grow, right? That is China. And here in Japan, when it comes to family, you can bring your family, like I said earlier, your family can, your work, I mean, your wife can work, your husband can work. You can decide if the person needs to change their visa status to a normal working visa. For example, if you bring a dependent and you guys understand you don't have, probably you don't have a child, and the person is also looking for a stable job, it is possible that you can look for such a job. And if you find such a job, you can convert, if the company is willing, they can change your visa to a regular working visa. And in that case, the person is no longer a dependent. The person is a standalone. You work, you guys work together, you can still live together as husband and wife. It is possible. And if you have a child here in Japan, whether you have the child here or you bring the child here, once the person is of school going age, from whether crèche, elementary, junior high, the person is going to attend the public school for free. If you want the person to go to the public school, it is possible, it is allowed, the person is going to attend public schools for free. But before that, there are certain conditions you need to meet. Number one, you two have to be working. Both the man and the wife, you need to be working before your child can go to a public school. So this is what happens when my family came. When they got here, because they just came, my wife didn't get a job yet. We tried to send our daughter to school, even though it wasn't the beginning of the school year, because the school year begins from April to March. So tomorrow, like 1st April, is the beginning of the academic year. So they were here in September. So it's like in the middle of the academic year. So once we were trying to find school for my daughter, we were told that schools are in session already and there are no vacancies. So what they can do for us is to allow us to look for a private crèche, yeah, crèche or kindergarten, which one works for us. And they gave us some amount that if we pay this amount, the government is going to refund part of it until the beginning of the next school year. So it means from that time, April, from September they came, we started looking, I think from October till November, December, January, February, March. Then April, she can join the mainstream. And that was what we did. So whilst we were looking for the school, they gave us condition. They said, one, if both of us are not working, she cannot be accepted in any school because there's no reason for the school to accept her. It's like they are keeping her so that we will get busy. So if all of us are not being busy, then there's no basis for her to come to school. It was a shocker, but that is the system here. That's how it works here. So we had to look for work. And if you say you are looking for job, it's not like using mouth that I'm looking for job. You need to prove that you are looking for job. And you have to do all these things by the city office. In Japan, in every city, there's a place called city office. That is where you go for everything, every information regarding your residency, your taxes, your everything in Japan. you have to go to the city office and they are going to have everything for you. They will give you every information that you need. In big cities, they even have English translations or different language translations. But in the smaller cities, they mainly have the Japanese. Okay. So they have a system here where they help people like dependents and students to get job, which is called Hello Work. So when you go there and you start applying for job, looking for job, they give you certificate, which means you have applied for job or you are looking for job, or you are actively looking for job. And that certificate is what you are going to take to the city office. And even if you apply through mails, you are going to print such data and send to the city office to prove that yes, you are actively looking for job. When you do that, the likelihood that they will consider your child for going to school is earlier. Otherwise, until you find a job and you start working before they can consider your child for attending school. And that was what we did. We didn't know about Hello Work. So when they mentioned it, we looked for it and we found out that it was in our area. We went there, got a certificate, and now my daughter had a chance to go to school. And she was attending that crèche, like I said, from November, I think, or late October until March. And then the following year, she was enrolled into the mainstream. That was from April, first year, like elementary school one. Yeah, so that is about how things work in Japan. Okay. I don't know what if I'm saying something which is making sense though, but this is my personal experience, which I feel like sharing with you to help you decide which one to go for. Okay. I think we have a question here. Okay. From Benedicta says, what if you are a single parent? Will it still be possible? Yes, Benedicta. There are a lot of single parents here, foreigner single parents here in Japan. So it's possible. However, if you are a single parent, there are certain jobs that might not be willing to recruit you. That's all. But for your kid to attend school, that's fine. For you to get a part-time job, you can do that. You can easily do that. Hello Work can help you get jobs anytime. And what happens is if you go to Hello Work, they have a list of jobs, companies that are looking for employees. They gave their requirements. So the Hello Work will show you that we have these jobs available. These are the requirements. Can you do this? Can you do that? The requirement with the payments, whatever the pay per hour is there. So you are going to look through. They can give you, if you are not certain, you want to go and go through them, do your checks and balances, think about them, and come back and take a decision. It's fine. They will give you the documents and you go through them. If you are convinced that, yes, I want to do this, they will now call the company and tell them, because most of the requirements might be Japanese, speaking Japanese. So they will call them and say, okay, we have somebody who is interested in your job. However, the person is not able to speak fluent Japanese, or the person can speak a little Japanese. Is it something you will consider? You, in your face, they will call in your presence, but mainly because he might not understand Japanese, so he might not understand everything. But if you understand Japanese, then that's okay for you. So you are going to hear them call and talk with the people, and if it's okay with them, they will schedule when you should go there for a meeting, like interview and all this stuff. Okay. So yeah, as a single parent, you can live with your kid here. But like I said, because the schooling system is such a way that sometimes when the kids are in school, uh, they might fall ill, sick sometimes, and they need to call you. And so this is why major companies that would want to take you for a full time, they wouldn't like to employ you if you are a single parent having a kid here in Japan. I have somebody who has a similar situation here. So it's really difficult if you want to be a full-time worker and you want to be a single parent, or you are a single parent. Have I answered you, please, Benedicta? All right. Hello, TikTok. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the likes. Dream, 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 dream. Thank you for the likes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I good day. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Dreams, I see you. How are you doing? Yes. Okay. So I believe all that I have shared about China and Japan would help you to make an informed decision. Mind you, I am not here to say this is better than this, but for me, with all these things, I have decided to choose Japan over China because I prefer peace of mind. For me, it's not only about money. You understand? Both countries are safe. In China, there are no earthquakes. In Japan, there are earthquakes. However, there are people here in Japan. I am here, a lot of people here, a lot of foreigners here. My family is here. We live our life really as we can. Once we are following the laws, the rights, the don't, the do's and don'ts of the system, we are okay. In China, I work in the night. There's nothing like somebody will attack you. No. In Japan, you can work in the night. Once you are not in the cities like Tokyo, and there are some places that you don't have to um, go, you will be free. Because somebody just shared an experience with me recently that he came to Japan as a foreigner. He went to Tokyo, he went to a place, he went to a bar, and he was duped, you know. So in every place, there are the bad ones. So even though we are saying the places are safe, there are still the bad ones. And this reminds me again with another experience. When I was a student in China, I said earlier that students don't work. However, we were using our brains to survive, right? I went there to do my master's in music, yeah, in music. And fortunately, unfortunately for me, one of my lecturers had a music school. Even though she was teaching music in the university, but she still has a music school for the younger kids. So I was kind of recruited, and I was teaching the African drum, the djembe. And you know, those people, they like those kind of things, African drums, African dances, African performance. Yeah. So I was teaching the African drums, djembe. That was my first ever work in Japan. Sorry, my first ever work I've started doing in China. It was during summer. You know, I went there in March. So summer came, I mean, like May, June, that was our first holiday. So I had that job, and I had few coins, and I wanted to change my phone because the phone I sent from Africa wasn't actually working. Yeah, I sent Techno L9, yeah, L9 Plus. Those days, it was something that you can boast of. If you have that phone, you think, yeah, you have something nice, right? But when I got to China, unfortunately, it wasn't working properly. And the fact is, in China, you can live in China for so many years without touching physical money. So everything is done by the phone. You pay by your phone, you do everything by your phone, and you need internet. So this has nothing to do with the internet. I realized when I want to pay, when I try to scan, when I want them to scan my QR code, I was stand there for minutes, and it became so embarrassing because they will start asking you, where did you buy your phone? Where did you buy your phone? Hmm. So I was like, it's made in China. They will look at it and say, no, no, this is not from China. Even though it was written, it made in China, it's not meant to be used in China. So these are some of the practical things that I feel people should know about. It doesn't mean Chinese things are not good. However, they make things for specific places. So those ones were made for Africa, not to be used in China, because that time their network was way above the device. So after getting that pay, I decided to change my phone, to purchase a new phone. And as ignorant as I was, I never knew that there could be scammers in China. That was how ignorant I was. Yes, I will say it. I was so ignorant that I thought China, yeah, China is safe, everything okay, good people throughout. So I wanted to buy an iPhone. That was the first time I tried or I attempted to use an iPhone. So there were groups in China, like I said, we don't use WhatsApp. What they use is WeChat. So you see a lot of adverts on WeChat. They have so many groups. You join this group, there are adverts. Some are genuine. I didn't know we have scammers, like I said earlier. So I saw the advert, one of the adverts, and I decided to follow up. Just like in normal WhatsApp group, if you see something, you can contact the person privately and continue the deal. Because I was so ignorant, I thought everything was genuine, so I contacted him and I negotiated the price. It was so cheap in my view. So I sent the money, and now send me the phone. Then the story began. The person said, "Oh, you know what? Uh, now you need to send this for the shipment." I was like, we didn't say that early. You said this is the amount. Why now changing the? Say, oh no, this. Then before somebody told me, "Hey, you have been scammed," because I was about to even add more. You see how ignorant I was. Uh-huh. And then my face became so clear now. Hey, okay. So yeah, that was my experience. I thought everything was okay, but actually, in every country, there are the bad ones. And when you go into it, you realize that wasn't a Chinese, that was a foreigner living in China, also duping people. So, like that person who came to Japan and experienced what he experienced in Tokyo, which he shared with me live on TikTok recently, he wasn't duped by the Japanese. He was duped by foreigners. Do you understand? So we need to open our eyes. When you travel, you need to open your eyes. Yes, there are genuine people all over, and there are the bad nuts as well. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. If there are no questions, I think I have spoken quite a lot. And I believe all that I've shared would help us to make informed decision. That's why I'm here. That's all. That's my goal. That's my motivation. And so I will always help you to make informed decisions. And before we go, tomorrow is going to be April 1st, and Borderlink says they are going to open their applications from April. And so if you are ready with your documents, you can start putting in your application from tomorrow and wait for the good news. And I keep saying, if you put in the application within 2 weeks, you haven't heard from them, then you need to again, you know, after 2 weeks, if you haven't heard from them, you need to again until you got that message from them saying, yes, we are inviting you to an interview. You need to submit this and fill the form, blah, blah, blah. Yes, and also for this year, what I have decided to do is that, many people have been contacting me previously after they are invited for interview. They say, oh, can you help me fill the form? I've been doing that. I sometimes take people through preliminary interview session just to prepare them. However, I have been subjected to some form of abuse, which I could not share here. So now I want to be sure that somebody is ready to be guided or not. And so if you have been invited to an interview and you want my support, my guidance, I have a special group that you need to join. It's not a free group, it's a paid group. From this year, I've decided to create that group. It's a WhatsApp group, but it's a paid group. And I'm stressing the fact that you need to be invited to an interview first before you can join that group. Because if you haven't invited and you want to join that group, well, I don't have any problem. But I think the best is for you to get invited to an interview. Then you can request to join that group. Okay. And when you join that group, I'm going to guide you how to fill the form. And after filling the form, if you are confident of filling the form, that's fine. But if you have any question about the form, fine. I will guide you with the experience that I've got. I will not do it for you. That's why I'm using the word I will guide you, because it is you who needs to do it. The fact is, if you do it and you get to the interview, you already know what you have done, so you can speak to it. But if it is done for you, it's like you don't even know what you did or what has been done for you. Even if you have read through it several times, it is still different from you doing it yourself. So I prefer guiding people, letting people use their own words in describing things, in coming out with things. Yeah, in that case, you can remember it just at any time. So I will just guide you. Okay. With your introductory video, I will guide you on how to do it better. You know, I have done videos about that on my channel. However, if you still need my guidance, I will still guide you. Okay. So if you are invited, you can feel free to chat me and I will provide you with the link for you to join the group and we'll take it out from there. Mind you, get a copy of this book and you are going to get everything clearer. All right. If there are no questions, I will thank you so much for joining and hopefully I will see you in the next live stream. Take care and bye-bye. Good night from Japan.